Before dawn's first light, grief descends on Jerusalem like a cold mist. Who dares approach a tomb where hope seems buried forever? Three women, Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James, and Salome, step into that darkness. Often sidelined in Scripture, they now shine as torches of courage and faith. Their untold story is a journey through sorrow to touch divine grace. What lifted them when loss weighed on every heartbeat? Today we trace their steps, face the silent storm, and uncover sacred justice rising with the sun. Join me, share the hope, subscribe, and let's begin. The first blush of dawn streaks Jerusalem's gray lime rooftops, turning the city's jagged walls into faint chalk lines in a watercolor dawn. On a rugged stone alley in the northern outskirts, three figures stride, leaving behind pools of shadow tinged with the last night's torch smoke. Leading is Mary Magdalene. Her eyes bear traces of swelling, yet her gait is steadfast, as if each fallen tear has hardened into resolve. Beneath her coarse cloak hides an improbable tale of rebirth, from outcast to survivor, sustained by grace. Beside her, Mary, mother of James, carries the frame of one who's tasted life's bitterness. In her heart, she nurtures a faith as enduring as ancient stone. Closing the trio is Salome, clutching an alabaster jar of anointing oil, cradling the final treasure to honor their teacher. The air around them feels like a vast bruise. 3 days have passed since the crucifixion, but the spiritual tremors linger in early shuttered market streets, in the wary eyes of Roman guards lingering past their shifts. In the temple's corridors, white-robed priests murmur, weighing risks of rebellion. Religious authority cloaks the city in armor of ritual and anxiety. For women, this vigilance is doubly daunting. Roman law and Jewish tradition weigh their testimony lighter than the clink of swords. Yet three small figures slip through ivy-draped stone crevices, advancing toward the burial garden like arrows needing no bow. Joseph of Arimathea's garden unfolds after a bend, dark green and damp, a sealed door of earthen scent. At its heart, a limestone tomb nestles under low olive branches. A heavy round stone bars the entrance, its surface scarred by pry marks. The three know bare hands cannot roll the slab, but physical limits have never stilled their heart's motion. Memories of an innocent body hanging in Friday's twilight haunt them, each dust mote on their heels a reminder of owed devotion. The oil jar in Salome's hands grows heavier with duty, not just a burial rite, but a living oath etched in fragrance. As they near the tomb, their minds churn with chilling questions. If Jesus was truly the Messiah, why was death so swift and brutal? Is divine justice a mere illusion? Each cobblestone beneath their feet feels like a question mark, spiraling deeper. In the distance, a rooster's plaintive crow rings thrice from the temple courtyard, recalling Simeon's prophecy that a sword would pierce a mother's heart. The sound slices through the scene, tearing the silence, etching another scar on Mary, mother of James's memory. In that hush, the contrast between darkness and dawning becomes a stark metaphor. On one side, the empire's proud seal. On the other, the quiet pulse of hope refusing to die. Each dewdrop on their hair whispers that the universe is built for renewal, not decay. All they need is to keep walking, though every step carries a sob. They halt before the stone, its dew-soaked surface reflecting the sun's emerging amber. Wordlessly, all three gaze at the towering barrier, recognizing the distance between them and their teacher is not just tons of rock, but an invisible wall of prejudice, military might, and religious law silencing women's voices. Yet, as the sun's rays strike the marble, its cold face transforms into a misty mirror, reflecting three resilient silhouettes. Worn features, reddened eyelids, calloused hands, all converge in a living portrait of steadfast loyalty. If a Roman officer chanced to glance from the ramparts, he'd likely dismiss this as a private tragedy, unworthy of note. But the universe has its own measure. Where humans see smallness, grace often takes root. In mere moments, history's wheel will pivot on the axis carved by these three steps. Whether the stone rolls or not, their journey has crested in fidelity. At dawn's edge, with silver mist still clinging to tiny olive leaves, three women defy prejudice, advancing like a patient stream wearing down a cliff. And in that silence, as the day's first warmth embraces the garden tomb, a new chapter softly opens, not with the blare of battle horns, but quiet as a seedling splitting its husk underground, poised to reshape humanity's harvest. The burial garden emerges past a row of gaunt olive trees, and in the first sunlight, the tomb's sealed stone glows like a freshly scabbed scar. As that light brushes her cloak's edge, Mary Magdalene's heart clenches with familiar shock. She feels acutely the contrast between the serene sky above and the cold marble slab at the hill's base. These past days, every hope once solid was hung upside down on a cross, leaving a tattered memory that bleeds afresh with each morning breeze. Now, one step from the tomb, this woman, long branded impure, faces a barrier both tangible and symbolic, a stone heavier than the prejudices heaped upon her life. An eastern gust sweeps through silver leaves, carrying the night's fading chill. On the polished surfaces of shields propped loosely against the garden wall, dew condenses into trembling drops. Two Roman guards, helmets glinting pale pink, lean on spears with casual defiance, but their razor-sharp glances could slice through any reckless thought. In a city where a woman's word weighs less than steel striking stone, the quiet presence of these three could swiftly be branded as defiance of order. Salome, still cradling a radiant dream of promised redemption, feels her hands gripping the oil jar grow doubly heavy. The faint scent of myrrh ripples through damp earth and rusted metal, a reminder that human tenderness often begins in a harsh atmosphere. Beneath her wide indigo robe, Mary, mother of James, clasps her hands tightly. Loss has etched deep lines around her eyes, but in her silence, a steady stream of trust flows. She witnessed their teacher reverse countless sealed fates, fostering her belief that a path opens when human strength falters. Yet beneath that steadfast surface lies a vast wilderness, the desolation of a mother who saw violence steal the future, the emptiness of bottling freedom into silent tears amid torch-smoked streets. Their peril isn't just arrest. Before them looms a power structure built to silence quiet cries, a society stacked with prejudices where women are mere marginal notes. From a watchtower's height, this scene might look like three stray sparrows, but from the low earth, each step resounds like a drum of resistance. The physical barrier can be measured in paces, but the invisible wall, from imperial armor to communal scorn, looms far larger. The myrrh jar in Salome's hands leaks a few noble drops through a tiny crack, trailing a sharp, sweet fragrance behind. That scent echoes the temple's solemn rites, where women stand only at the outer edge. Now, with the breeze, it blends with morning soil and iron's tang, crafting a scene of convergence, death reaching for consecration, love holding fast to its vow. Mary Magdalene envisions rolling the stone, arms straining, dust swirling, breaths breaking. The vision quickly crumbles against reality. Even dozens of strong men would struggle to budge that tomb's heavy door. Doubt hisses in their weary minds, urging retreat before they're mocked as dreamers in broad daylight. But love, which transformed their lives, permits no turning back. The ground suddenly pulses with sharp tremors. Pebbles clatter, rolling down low steps. From afar, a long metallic sound echoes, like a bronze horn, yet it carries the weight of a command from an unknowable realm. The guards flinch, eyes flashing with unnamed dread. In that moment, stretched to eternity, hope bursts like a final spark from dying embers, fragile yet burning. The sky widens a degree, deepening the pink to radiance, and the unyielding stone, though still, glints strangely, as if its core harbors a cracking heart. The three need no words, but all sense this is no mere quake. Every earthly decree, from the governor's wax seal to age-old scorn, is being shattered by a greater reality. They press forward, leaving the last safe patch of dew-damp path. Doubts still ripple in their minds, but a silent command outweighs inner clamor. Keep walking, for truth never yields to fear. In wordless harmony, three souls align into a steady bass note, propelling them through the boundary between dust and eternity. And then, in that teetering moment between trembling flesh and steadfast will, time softly turns its hinge. Before the guards regain composure, before fear can shackle them, three women's steps affirm again that loyalty and justice's hunger always find a crack to rise. The sky brightens another shade, the garden so still you could hear a seedling stir. Hope, though just dawning, plants in tear-soaked soil a seed no force can bury. At the crossroads of nature's tremor and the heart's eruption, the resurrection story writes a new chapter. One of small souls daring to weigh love heavier than life. One that turns a tombstone into a milestone, heralding the birth of an eternal dawn for humanity. The earth trembles beneath feet bearing faith, newly kindled by dawn, then surges like a heart thundering to herald a new life breaking free from its dark cocoon. The thin dust on the path swirls into silver vortices, shaking weary olive leaves grayed by the long night. Their rustling sings like an impromptu chime, and in that instant, a fierce radiance explodes from the tomb's entrance. So vivid it melts the garden's grays into liquid hues spilling from a once austere canvas. The blaze is so intense that grasses by the stone steps cast flickering shadows, while the armored guards, uncomprehending, collapse like broken dolls, rolling senseless under a cascade of falling dust. The stone, needing many men to budge, now lies aside, light as an empty basket, revealing a gaping void that swallows all doubt. In the deafening silence, where only the pulse in her temples roars, Mary Magdalene sets the first foot on the stone threshold. A cold breath from within wafts out, coiling around her ankles like silver mist, stirring memories, both bitter and sweet, of feet once gently washed by her teacher, A few short steps stretch into a lifetime, and then the darkness bursts into a strange emptiness. The stone slab meant for a body now lies bare, a cold marble mirror reflecting a light soft as dawn on a sea. At its head, a radiant white figure stands, embodying a realm beyond human ken. No sound is needed. The heart of a woman once shamed knows this singular being hails from immeasurable heavens, bearing news that shifts the universe's course. Emotion detonates in their chests like fireworks. Hope, nailed shut with iron on Golgotha, now surges free, gold yet unstoppable. Salome follows, hands that clutch the oil jar now covering her mouth to choke a sob, for the jar is useless now. The body meant for myrrh has entered glory. Mary, mother of James, sinks, knees striking dusty stone, tears washing away the scabs of 3 days' grief. A command resounds in their minds, solemn yet urgent. Leave this place, carry the news, tell those hiding in fear that death no longer speaks last. This charge comes with no pulpit, no quill or seal. All they have are weathered feet, tread through countless forbidden doors. Yet strangely, the mission's weight feels lighter than the now redundant oil. They aren't to linger with death, but race toward life. Mary Magdalene's dark dress billows, brushing past motionless Roman soldiers, sweeping the heavy stone, and sweeping away the ancient claim that all ends when breath fails. Behind them, unearthly light hangs, a vow from heaven. What God begins never halts halfway. Ahead lies Jerusalem's maze of alleys, where disciples cower behind bolted shutters, believing empires outlast their teachers' prophecies. From tomb to safe house is a mere few blocks, but the spiritual journey is epic. The greatest relay in history starts with 3 women, denied voice in synagogues. Each step on cracked stones cleaves the old order. Each breath in their haste etches a brief, eternal note. He lives. The city hums with dawn's faint mist, scattered with early risers' murmurs. But as almond bud quiver in the breeze, history's gate creaks open. At the market's edge, beggars barely stir as 3 women race through gate shadows, hair loose, faces flush with awe, joy, and sacred duty. They glide past fear of patrols, past debts to family honor, past the stigma that women can't proclaim first. Each step up ancient stones extends a corridor leading humanity from ignorance's dungeon. Inside the locked house, disciples flinch at the first knock, but 3 pounding hearts seep through wood cracks, sowing doubt's first seed. After a tense pause, the door swings wide, and emotion floods in. Some scoff, others rage, some eyes glint, aching to believe. Yet that stir, like a dove ruffling floodwaters, signals an unstoppable shift. Once the good news spills from the lips of society's weakest, it leaps barriers, bursting like a torrent that sweeps away prejudice. At that moment, atop the Temple Mount, the sun climbs its final arc, casting golden rays on the city's clay tiles. Light bathes Mary Magdalene's face, her lashes still tear-streaked, her courage a silent anthem pulling the world to a new page. Salome, once trembling with dreams, feels Galilee's warm breeze ahead, though her legs ache from running. Mary, mother of James, sees Simeon's prophesied sword has pierced her heart, carving a gate to an everlasting dawn for all. The miraculous path from dark tomb to trembling room spans a morning's jog, but its meaning stretches to eternity's rim. From the moment the stone shifts, the story escapes Judea's small garden, weaving into history's veins, igniting resolve in the weak, emboldening courage in the oppressed, and reminding us hope's seed sprouts in despair's soil. These women preached no dogma, raised no banners, they just ran. Their steps set a new rhythm in humanity's heart, proclaiming life's triumph over the grave. Even now, when Easter bells ring in modern cities, where skyscrapers replace Golgotha, the echo is those ancient footsteps on stone, a nameless sprint that launched faith's every flight. No divide remains between high and low. Jerusalem's billowing dress and Wall Street's suit are both summoned to join the chorus that death has lost its sting. Through these women, the world's senses awoke, relearning to hear hope's tremor in quaking earth, see light erupt from immovable stones, and breathe the fragrance of life blooming, where only myrrh was prepared for death. Their journey didn't end at the safe house steps. From their trusting hearts, the message raced across the earth through centuries of war, continents of slavery, past concrete prejudice. So every person today, swiping a screen or holding a phone, can hear, even in silent hearts, the echo of 3 bold steps. He lives, and that life calls us toward an endless dawn's light. In a cramped attic tucked behind Jerusalem's twisting alleys, the air hangs thick, a dusty veil of dread. Night lingers, but shock still hovers, pressing against trembling wooden walls. The teacher's followers huddle in the faint glow of an oil lamp, its burning wax mingling with the acrid scent of fear-soaked sweat, turning the room into a pressure-sealed box. Having felt the city quake with rumors and dreading Rome's iron fist at any moment, their breaths come short, choked with unvoiced questions. The attic door creaks, admitting a gust laced with street dust. 3 cloaked figures burst in like arrows loose from a bow. Their urgency tears the silence, swirling the room into a maelstrom of news. The disciples' faces flash with astonishment, then flicker with doubt. Men reeling from their teacher's loss are thrust into a new psychological whirl. Can news be good if borne by 3 women, their voices curbed by society? No dialogue breaks, but Mary Magdalene's torrent of words weaves through the room, sharp as a blade. The earth shook like creation's dawn. A blinding light stole breath. Guards fell like wilted grass. The stone slid aside like an empty basket, and the tomb's void held an eerie hush. Her vivid imagery paints a supernatural scene, stirring the thick air, yet belief doesn't follow. Deep-rooted tradition sows distrust of women's words, so instead of joy, the room brims with skepticism. Furrowed brows, clenched fists, and averted eyes betray the stubborn grip of custom. Doubt rises like a tide, but Mary Magdalene stands firm, her eyes ablaze. The weight of her witnessed miracle fuels her gaze, each step shifting the room's atmosphere to a new orbit. Beside her, Salome gently sets the untouched oil jar on the floor, its myrrh scent spreading as silent proof. The burial rite is moot, for the body meant for anointing has transcended the slab. Her quiet, resolute act slices another nick into doubt's surface, letting truth seep through. Mary, mother of James's gaze, finds Peter, touching his soul's still bleeding wound. In the heavy silence, Memories of a rooster's triple crow and the teacher's glance crushed Peter's chest anew. A surge of emotion, guilt fused with hope, spurs him to rise, pulling John with him. They bolt from the room, down creaking wooden stairs, racing through dawn-washed streets. Their absence compresses time into a taut pulse. In the attic, each sweat drop on the floor ticks like a countdown. Grim faces lock eyes, none daring to break the weight, fearing a single sound might topple the fragile fortress around their wavering faith. Then urgent footsteps thunder up the stairs, flinging the door against the wall. Two dust-streaked figures burst in, panting, their faces alight with a brilliance rivaling the dawn through the narrow window. Peter's trembling nod severs doubt's chains. The empty tomb's truth strikes not as a report but as lightning, collapsing skepticism. Leaving a field where faith's seed takes root, history's axis grinding under imperial boots shifts with a silent turn. The most dismissed testimony becomes the cornerstone of belief. Tradition, sidelining women, quakes, for heaven chose the narrowest gate, clogged by prejudice, for resurrection's light to flood through. The teacher's kingdom redraws its map. Where status fails, courage reigns. Where titles grant no favor, faith transcends gender. Resistance persists, doubt smolders like past embers. Rumors of a stolen body spread. Religious councils scheme cover-ups, and Rome's threat looms at bolted doors. Yet the courage sown by those three women spreads like yeast, stiffening the spine of a shattered community. Fear lingers, but truth as clarity straightens their backs, ready for consequences. As dusk gilds clay rooftops, a solemn debate unfolds. They'll return to Galilee, to the lake where follow me, first called them. This isn't mere flight from politics. It's a pilgrimage to meet the one who summoned fishermen and tax collectors, who embraced outcast women. Now these women bridge faith for all. The decision seals a new path, rooted in memory, aimed at the next encounter where life speaks. Outside, alleys bathe in ripe sunlight. Mary Magdalene feels its warmth through journey's dust, sensing the sun rising anew for the world. Silently, she gives thanks for courage granted, knowing the road ahead will be no less grueling. She holds no legal writ or silver, only a story, simple yet seismic, a stone rolled aside, an emptiness defying death's grip, a reversal to shake empires. That simplicity is its power. Needing no force or scholarship, it rests on an event that fractures history, lifting the weak as conduits of might. The humble steps of three unknown women carve a trail beyond military maps, becoming a highway for faith's unstoppable flow. It winds through poor inns, crowded alleys, barren deserts, storm-tossed seas, ensuring hope's dawn doesn't fade in Palestine, but lives in countless hearts. In the attic at day's end, the lamp's flicker lights changed faces. Frozen fear melts, tears of regret dissolve, forging resilient material for a far-reaching mission. A broken community knits together with the teacher's love for the lowly, now proven by an empty tomb. The crammed room expands as hope lifts the ceiling, letting them see beyond city walls to Galilee's blazing horizon. A mystic calm settles, the quiet of hearts tuned to an eternal breath. Certainty surges. If death was the final barrier, it's fallen. If gender's prejudice was an iron gate, it's open. The universe pivots from power to grace, violence to rebirth, redrawing the world with mercy's soft but steadfast pen, charting a path to freedom. This story, born in that frail attic, stretches far across oceans through 60 centuries to every home craving hope. Its liberating force lies not in volume, but in overturning endings. Americans today, in vibrant cities or quiet plains, hear its echo, their pulse matching that ancient courage. If life triumphed in a humble attic, it's strong enough to renew any life now. From the moment the tombstone lay skewed by its wall, the story of the three women didn't halt at their first cry of joy or end in the cramped attic where disciples listened. Like threads radiating from an unseen loom, their testimony wove into the early church's lifeblood, entwined with the teacher's memory, crafting a new tapestry over an ancient world. Each step they left on the road to Galilee became a milestone for sprouting communities, from lakeside fishing villages to Syrian streets, from olive groves to Roman squares. In every small house, as the first believers broke bread and shared purple wine, the breath of those women whispered in the air, reminding all that hope can spring from despair's darkest cave. Their lesson wasn't wrapped in complex doctrine or lofty philosophy. It distilled into one simple truth. Courage isn't crushing fear, but pressing forward, even as fear walks beside you. When the stone rolled aside, it wasn't just the tomb that opened, the roof of prejudice cracked. Cultural barriers that silenced half of humanity wavered, letting grace's first rays light the path for every forgotten voice. Thus their witness surged across borders, carrying the seed of a message: humans, though labeled by tradition or power, can bloom like candles defying the night's wind. For generations after, whenever faith communities faced scornful systems, that dawn's echo resounded. When enslaved souls lined up under bronze whips, they recalled a stone moved not by force. When exiled children lit oil lamps in foreign corners, they pictured the garden's darkness split by light. When the sick clung to frail hope, they held fast to the truth that divine justice always finds a crack to rise. Each time, the memory of those brave women soothed like fragrant oil on wounds, easing soul-crushing sorrow and silencing doubt's mocking laughter. Between darkness and dawn, human life often lingers in a liminal moment, where the sun isn't yet clear and night's wait still slows steps. At that edge, the three women's example shines like a rescue beacon. They had no swords, no shields, no social rank. Their only weapon was faith in a love stronger than death. Their message, stripped of cultural trappings, struck humanity's softest core, the yearning to transcend fear and grasp a truth beyond self. That fidelity became a lever, raising a lighthouse to guide the lost through storms of doubt. In any era when power claws at human worth, the resurrection's echo declares the final measure isn't imperial decrees or council seals, but an eternal promise. Life triumphs over darkness. A student struggling under grade's weight, a veteran fading in a noisy city, or a parent weary by a sick child's bed, all can stand in that legacy. By setting trembling feet on dawn's threshold and stepping forward, they follow those women, keeping the first Easter sermon ringing. That certainty sustains voices bloodied by critique and rouses feet numbed by fear. Recognizing the beauty of a story born from silenced hands gives today's listeners reason to speak. When we retell, recount, or simply share hope's flame, we extend light's voyage, reaching shores thought isolated. Across America's vast expanse, from Pacific to Atlantic, that day's courage pulses on every path. At family dinners, in wooden church pews, or amid neon-lit coffee shops, the old story's warmth melts loneliness as ice, drawing hearts to liberating truth. Listeners know they're not alone. Women's footsteps mark their road. First-century tears blend with 21st-century prayers. So when the YouTube screen fades, the message doesn't end. It launches another journey through shares, heartfelt comments, or a resolute subscribe click. Such small acts fan the flame, sending light to strangers wrestling their own dark nights. In the digital world, each click crosses borders, reminding us hope's seed thrives best in trampled soil. If you're watching from anywhere in America, let this story roll away your stone, pessimism, prejudice, self-doubt. Turn the women's quiet surge into fuel to step beyond personal limits. Share this video. Let a friend, colleague, or stranger online hear the pulse that shifted history. Make the notification bell a trumpet for a new day, where grace keeps blooming, where today's Deborahs await their tale. May this story's power awaken your best self, so when life storms rage, you stand like a lighthouse, not dodging waves, but guiding ships through night. May grace from the one who shattered death's gate shade your every path. Until we meet again in the tale of a heroic woman judge, may peace and hope root, branch, and flower in the ground you tread.